Okay, X. I have a fairly mysterious and creepy story to tell you. I live in Serbia, in a town called Ruma. The events I'll tell you about happened in 1999, toward the end of March. If I remember correctly, the bombing had recently started. I am an electrician by trade, but at the time, I was working as an assistant to the manager of a small cafe. Basically, I did a secretary's job, typing, arranging meetings, and bookkeeping as well. What I was doing doesn't matter in any case. One night, a very old man, probably 80 something, came into the cafe as we were closing. This was the start of a very mysterious and frightening night. As he came in, I noticed his clothes were very dirty, as if he had fallen into a ditch or something. He was wearing a brown suit, so the stains were a bit harder to spot. Clutching his chest, he said one word and collapsed to the floor. Outside. The boss quickly lifted him and sat him on a chair and went to get him a glass of water. I ran outside to see what had happened. There was absolutely nothing outside. This cafe was on the outskirts of town, so we didn't even have an asphalt road, just dirt. I couldn't hear or see anything. Just as I turned back to go inside, I noticed the door handle was bloody. In fact, there were very small bloodstains around the door, trailing in from the road, from the end that goes out of town. I briefly considered following the bloodstains, but decided that staying and helping the old man was more important. I ran back into the cafe and I saw my boss pouring water down the man's throat. I checked for a pulse. It was there, but pretty faint. While doing this, I accidentally moved his left arm, with which he was clutching his chest, and I had quite a bit to see. There was a huge horizontal gash on his chest, about 20 centimeters long, I'd say. It was bleeding profusely. I realized he could very well die if it was not resolved somehow, so I ran to call an ambulance. I described our situation to the operator, and she said the ambulance would be there in 5 minutes. When I came back, the boss had already removed the man's shirt and cleaned most of his wound with water. I searched the man's pockets. I figured perhaps the doctors would need identification when they arrived. I found a small wallet made of fake leather in his right pocket. Inside, I found several interesting things, which I still have and which you can see on the picture here. A member's card from the Serbian Union Association issued to Peter N. Kristic, a pocket calendar from 1991, some sort of small tag which reads Security, May 1972. A special bus pass issued to Miladin Paljevic. The bus ticket had a picture, as you can see. The man who came into the cafe did slightly resemble the man on the photo, but one that looked much younger. As I looked over the things from the wallet, I heard the ambulance outside. The boss ran out to talk to them and led them inside, and I stayed. Suddenly, something unexpected happened. The man opened his eyes, grabbed his chest, and got up again like he wasn't injured at all, even though he was still bleeding. He turned to me and said, "The wallet in my shirt. Keep it. Hide it." His voice was very tired. It sounded like he had a severe cold and was a heavy smoker to boot. Just as he had said the last words, he clutched his wound even harder and collapsed onto the floor, just as the boss entered the cafe with the paramedics. The wallet was already in my back pocket, so I didn't have to do anything special to hide it. The boss hadn't seen me taking it. I felt compelled to listen to what might be this man's possible last wish, so I decided I will not show the wallet to anyone. Several minutes later, the man was pronounced dead. The paramedics had called the police. We were questioned about what happened by the police and were quickly cleared of most suspicions after they found no weapons anywhere in the cafe and after they had seen the blood on the road outside. They took samples and did some more investigation work on the scene, which I didn't pay much attention to at the time. They didn't search us for some reason, so the wallet remained undiscovered. We were shooed off pretty soon. I didn't think much about the man and what happened that night, although I did have an uneasy sleep. The cafe remained closed while the police was conducting their investigation. I had spent my newfound free time with friends and family and generally having fun when we could because of the power restrictions and the air raids. No bombs had fallen on Ruma, thankfully. One day when I was home alone, a man who I did not recognize knocked on my door. He was a bit older than me at the time. He introduced himself as a special police agent. He had a warrant for questioning, but only that. He didn't want to search my house, just ask several questions about that night. I agreed and wondered what harm could it do. I was a bit suspicious, however. He didn't ask anything special. When did this man come inside? Did he say anything? Did you find anything on him? Did he tell you his name? I kept the whole story about the wallet hidden, obviously. He thanked me for my time, saying that the man had some unusual wounds on other parts of his body, and he would be taken to Belgrade, the capital, for further study. He also told me that I could not speak to anyone about the case. You're probably wondering why I'm speaking of it now. Well, the man who questioned me died in 2004, and the case was closed in 2001, I believe, and I feel that the restriction isn't valid anymore. The whole thing had been very hush-hush. It never got attention in the news. I tracked the obituaries in the newspaper for a couple of weeks after that, but I never saw a picture of the man who came into our cafe. The whole thing still feels very weird to me. I stopped working at the cafe in 2000, and I am now a self-employed electrician. These events had always bothered me, however, and I always wanted to share them with somebody. The questions I ask you are what, who, how. Namely, what do you think is the significance of the wallet and the items inside, all of which I still have? Why was the whole case covered up? What happened to this man who came into our cafe? I'd like to hear your theories. Ask me anything about this and I'll answer as best as I can. OP, I'm an Albanian. You made me tear reading all of this and reminding our history back then. I hate it, I really do, and I'd like to help. I'm pretty sure you're informed about the UDBA, the secret police of Yugoslavia back then. My uncle was one of the top guys there. Yes, believe it or not, an Albanian was actually one of the UDBA highest. He even dined with Tito every now and then, if that doesn't amuse you. If you want to work with me, then I'd require you to post every single detail of that wallet pictured for me to show to my uncle. He's an old man now, and he never talks about his job, only with my father. He once told me he's alive because he knows how to keep his mouth shut. You see, I really like to know more about this kind of stuff because communist Yugoslavia interests me a lot, specifically having a real close relative working for the government. I'm sure we could solve this because the guy seems like he's related to the UDBA. Cheers, man. Greetings, my friend. What happened between us during the 90s also makes me sad, and yes, I would like to work with you and try to solve this. All I know about the UDBA is what every other regular person knows, so not a lot, basically. I'll post a picture of the wallet in a moment. Here's some more detailed descriptions of the things I found. The security pass has 2 holes on the back, and you can remove the little bit of cardboard from inside it. I've seen things like this before. Basically, you can put a safety pin through the holes in the back and wear it as a badge. The union membership card has its own plastic holder thing with an ad for the BIP brewery on the back. The card says,
"Ano, chiki-briki v damke!"
Kristik and Peter 3028 15 030 128. On the back, basically, it describes what privileges you get from being a member. The paper in the other side of the holder just has phone numbers for various sectors of the union. The calendar is from a Belgrade company, Centro Textil. It has a picture of 2 women in the front, On the back, as you can see, it has the telex and phone number and address. The bus pass has a lot of details. I'll post some photos of it in a moment. I'm writing all of these down. Continue with the pictures, please. I'm printing them. Trajna means permanent. There is obviously something serious with this guy. You could not get such a document with communism without being part or having connections with the elite. To anyone thinking that this is probably nothing, believe me, Yugoslavia has been in some serious shit. Albanian guy here, OP. I asked my dad, and he told me that this guy is related to the UDBA. However, he's not informed enough to know how or why. I'm going to call my uncle right now. Continue with the pics, and any details might help. OP, case is kinda solved. The guy is one of the Croatian spies that the UDBA tried to hunt down. I'll return within 10 minutes as I'm on my way to my uncle's for more detailed information. Hey OP, I'm the Albanian guy. Just got back from a talk with my uncle. Yes, the guy we're talking about is in fact Croatian. You actually kept a wallet of a Croatian UDBA spy for all these years. He used the syndicate membership to get undercover. Basically, he's not that big of a person, just one of the inside spies that UDBA wanted to take down. I'm sorry to disappoint that you did save and keep this man's promise, although his only purpose was to spy and hurt your nation. That name is not his real name, it's actually one of his fake IDs. That bus ticket is something that the UDBA elites owned. They would get free transport anytime they wanted. I hope this was informative. I'm glad I could help you. You might post an unused email here, and I will email you if I manage to get more information about this guy from my uncle. Though I'm not entirely sure and don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but I did notice I got his attention when I mentioned Ruma and the year that happened. As I said, he literally never talks about stuff like this because he's so strict. It's like UDBA still secretly owns basements and goes to meetings. Thank you for watching my video. If you enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, and share.